Hey guys, this is Carla, and this time I'm back with a review for episode 2 of season 1 of Shadowhunters. This episode is titled The Descent into Hell Isn't Easy, and can I just start by saying that is a terrible title. Yes, I know it's a pun on the Shadowhunters motto or whatnot, but really it's just clunky. They should have thought of something else. It's just bad episode, bad. Going on with the show, last time I said, after I watched the pilot, that, okay, it wasn't great, but there were good things, right? And it made me interested to see where they were going to it. There was potential for getting better, so I was all for it. I didn't think it was as bad as I expected it to be, right? Second episode was about the same. I still feel like I think in this one I felt the pacing issues more than I did in the previous episode, because it felt at the beginning like there was too much going back and forth a bit. It's like Claire goes outside, then she goes inside, and then go to Pandemonium, then they go back, and then it's like back and forth the whole time, and then they go to the City of Bones, and it's like, really, you haven't been in one place for 2 seconds, but there's already been too many heavy conversations in between when nothing's happening. It's like they were trying to fill the time with conversations, which is interesting from the sense that it gives you a better idea of the characters. At the same time, if you're gonna use them for exposition, it's kind of clunky. So that was the feeling I kind of got from that. I feel like the same complaints I had the previous time are still here. Actually, I thought Dominic was much better as Jason this time around. He still has some lines that they give him that are just kind of off. And I honestly don't think it's him. I think it's just the lines. Same with Kat as Clary. I think it's not that they're bad at acting, it's just the dialogue is not all that great, so sometimes they give him lines, especially when it's exposition. They give him lines, and they just, it doesn't come across great just because the dialogue is weird, not necessarily because their lines are, not necessarily because they're bad actors or anything. I hope they get better at that. I hope they get better writers to get better dialogue, because really some of the things that come out of their mouths are just like, what? On the other hand, you have some people that are just really great and just like really great lines and can deliver them perfectly. For example, I love Alec. I've said this before. Alec is my favorite character in the books. I love him. And I'm really loving how Matthew Daddario is playing Alec. I mean, he's kind of surly and kind of like, what the hell is going on? And what is this girl doing here? And he's very jealous and stuff, but he's just great. I mean, I really love the way he delivered. Like, some of his lines are so bad, but when they come out of his mouth, it's like, he has that one line where, I think Isabel says something about Clary not being able to go outside alone, and Alex like, it too, Isabel? And I'm like, really? That would have sounded so dumb in anyone else, but he delivered it perfectly. I mean, I think he's great. He's a great Alec, and I am really looking forward to where his character arc is going. Really though, for me, it's all about Simon and Isabel here. Like, Simon and Isabel just breathe life into me. They just breathe life into the show. They're fantastic, both of them. Emerald and Alberto, they're great, so great, both of them. Alberto is pretty much the only one of the younger cast who's consistently making me laugh and consistently delivering his lines exactly the way he should. I mean, yes, Matthew is good, and he does things with bad lines that could be really bad. With lines that could be really bad, and he makes them good. Alberto makes them great, and he's so fantastic. And Emerald as Isabel, she just, every time she's on screen, she kind of takes over. You know, it's like she's the center of attention, which is exactly what Izzy should be. Um, and I love that she's like totally flirting with Simon, and Simon just has no idea what's going on. You know, and it's all kind of adorable. I love all their interaction. I'm a huge Simon Isabel fan. I admit it. I'm totally biased, but I loved their interaction, and it makes me feel really happy because we had so little of that in the movie. Like they were promising that if they made more movies, that more would come out of it, but it was really like one scene barely. So I'm really glad that they're having moments from the beginning. Obviously, it's not going to go anywhere because Simon has to go through the Clary phase first, and then, you know, Izzy has her own issues to deal with before she can actually be with Simon and stuff. But it's just, I love them. They're adorable together. They're adorable apart. They're just great. And for me, they kind of just make this entire show bearable. I don't know what this thing would have looked like if the two of them weren't in there. I did, though, catch a few times where Emerald's accent kind of slipped a bit, but I don't mind. I mean, she's great. I love her, and I love Alberto, and they're just both, you know, national treasures. I love them. Speaking of other people I loved, there's Ellen Van Strang? I don't remember his last name, I'm so sorry. Ben Sprang, I believe. As Valentine. He's so awesome. Like, Valentine is one of those villains who I always thought is really imposing, but also, like, fundamentally flawed. Ellen Van Sprang just seems imposing without necessarily him being physically imposing, which is kind of something that I always thought of Valentine. You know, I always imagined him like tall and broad-shouldered and just looking down at people and stuff like that. Alan Van Sprang is not tall. He's you know, pretty normal in build and has no hair, and you know, but he does evil so well. Like, I have no doubt that he was a perfect casting choice because he just makes evil look so cool. he's like effortlessly evil. You know what I mean? It's like he's not even trying. The evil just comes from within, and I love that because that's Valentine. That's the way Valentine should be. And it doesn't. I mean, he doesn't come across as a cheesy villain. He comes across as someone who truly, you know, believes that what he's doing is what should be. You know, he has a lot of conviction, and there's a lot of strength when you have conviction like that, which I really like. So kudos to him, and I hope they keep showing him. And although, you know, I didn't mention this last time, so I'm going to complain about it now. Chernobyl, really? Could you find a more cliched place? Like, was it really even necessary for them to mention where he was? Couldn't have been a mystery until later? No, they had to go with Chernobyl, of all places. Really? So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the only thing about Valentine that I just went like, what? But the rest I liked. I really like. I love that he keeps, you know, impaling people with syringes and just stabbing them in the neck. I love that because that's totally Valentine. He would have syringes laying around of like angel blood and demon blood and whatever, probably like radiated blood because he's in Chernobyl and all. So I just love it. He just keeps stabbing people. It's so much fun. Things I didn't like as much then, apart from, you know, Jason Clary getting some lines that didn't really work as usual. Also with Magnus, I had that problem. I mean, I'm trying to give Harry the benefit of the doubt here. I really am. I understand that they're kind of going for a flamboyant type of acting, and he's trying to make it flamboyant, but it just doesn't fit. And maybe that's just me, not being able to swallow that flamboyancy. But I just don't buy it. So I really hope that Magnus gets in on the action soon, because right now it's all just like fireworks and fancy, escape routes and stuff, and I just don't buy it. And I don't want to think that it's the actor. I don't think so. I just think there hasn't been enough of Magnus yet to see what he can actually do. So I'll be waiting for that. The whole thing with Luke, I like that he's more involved. Like I said last time, I like that he's a cop because he's more involved. But that's kind of a little obvious. I mean, one circle member's dead. Not from him, but Jace killed him. Still, it's left in there. He's dead. Same day, he kills this woman, whom he shouldn't have killed, honestly. And if he had, he probably should have hidden the body better. I mean, you're a cop for a reason, dude. You should know how to hide these things. You're supposed to be trained to think like a murderer. So, I just thought it was kind of sloppy. And then his captain just comes in like, don't make me trust you. He's like, you have no reason not to trust me. And she's like, don't give me one. I'm like, really? Is this a real conversation? Are they going to make it look like, like Luke is involved? Because that takes us nowhere. Unless the captain turns out to be someone we aren't expecting. Like a vampire or something. Or a demon in disguise or whatever. That would make sense. But since I already thought of that, I kind of don't want them to go that way, because that would be really predictable. So I don't know. I don't know where they're going with this Luke. Talking to people who later end up dead thing, it just doesn't. You should tell the woman something. I mean, just spin her a story, man. It won't make sense, because I don't think oh, you should trust me. I don't think that excuse is going to roll for a long time, and we do have a bunch of episodes to go still, so I don't know. That one flashback scene with Clary and Luke, I think didn't work. Like, seriously, if you don't want your daughter to find out about all the stuff that you're hiding from her, you might not want to talk about it, like, at the door to her room. Like, seriously, maybe just go outside the house or something where she can't hear you for sure, because yes, she was pretending to be asleep. That should totally, just because she's asleep, that totally means she can't hear you ever. So it was like, really, are you seriously trying to pull this on us? I didn't buy it for a second. Another thing I didn't necessarily like is Dot, the amazing, come back to life 3 times lady. It's like, okay, the first time, in the first episode she died, and then she came back, and I was like, oh, she's a demon. Yeah, that makes total sense. Of course she can, it can be a demon pretending to be her. No, next episode they actually bring her back, and I'm like, really? How did she not die? What did you not explain? Yes, okay, she's a warlock. Okay, she's supposed to lead eternal life, not necessarily be immortal. Otherwise, why would Magnus be so afraid of Valentine? She can't die. It's just, she can't die. But they didn't explain that. She just came back like nothing. She's like, hey, I'm here, I'm not dead. Like, really? I think people would be really confusing. I also didn't like that first she got captured really stupidly, and I understand that they tried to explain that she was running low on magic, and that's why she couldn't defend herself. Dude, you've been alive for how long? You might have wanted to learn self-defense at some point in your really, really long life. But still, she gets captured. She has that little exchange with Valentine, which was actually pretty cool, because that was the first time he's actually stabbed anyone in this episode, so I like that. He has to keep doing that. Have I mentioned that before? Because he totally has to keep stabbing people with the syringe. It's so cool. But still, she has that exchange with Valentine. And then next time we see her, she just frees herself. I'm like, really? Why didn't you do that before? I don't know. It's so funny. And she gets out of the cell and she goes to Jocelyn and just starts talking to her. And I'm like, dude, really? You're not going to, like, run? I mean, obviously Chernobyl isn't affecting her because she's there and nothing's happening to her. So, like, she could run. She could try and run. No, she had to wait until the other circle member comes in. I don't know which one he is because I can't even be bothered to remember their names. But he comes back, fights her, she kills him with a syringe, yay! And then Valentine creepily is like, oh, you were a good servant. Now die. So, I mean, I like the way it ended. I just think Valentine's going to run out of circle members really quickly if they all try to act that way. It's like he lets them all die or kills them himself. So he's going to run out of people pretty soon. I don't know. I mean, the Dot thing. I hope she's dead for good now, because really, she can't survive a fourth time. Let's be serious here. Another thing I can't quite reconcile my mental image of Book Hodge with new, younger, hotter, stronger Hodge. It's like, what? It's just so weird. I mean, I like looking at the guy, like I said before, I'm shallow. I like looking at hot men who have no shirt on. But it's just so weird. I mean, Hodge in my mind was so different. I think that's the one instance where the changes, I'm just like, I can't process this. So I don't know. I like the thing with the circle. I thought that was fun. I just felt that whole scene was kind of a lot of exposition. You know, just a lot. The City of Bones scene with the sword, I mean, special effects notwithstanding, because that was kind of a stupid looking sword. I thought it was okay. For the most part, I liked the look of the Simon brothers. I don't know. I felt like Jace was being more Jace in that scene, so I guess I really liked it for that reason. It didn't come across as very forced. His lines weren't terrible. So I enjoyed that scene. And, you know, outside the whole Izzy thing was happening, so I was very entertained by that. Then we come back and Simon is gone, obviously, because he got kidnapped by vampires. And it was just so funny. I think that was Raphael. I'm not entirely sure the name. They didn't say his name. But they grab Simon. And then the camera just pans down to look at Clary's, like, really scared face expression. And she's just like, Simon! And then they pan up and they're gone. And I'm like, really? This is you trying to save money by not doing, you know, special vampiric special effects. Because they couldn't even bother, like, fading them out. No, they just cut away and then came back and the thing where they were standing on was empty. That was like that was really obvious. I wish they would do things better that way. But still, I mean, I liked the episode for the most part. I thought I still had the same problems with Dom and Kat, and personally also Harry, about the way they deliver their lines. I just don't. It doesn't quite gel for me. In a way, some of them at least. I do think Dom was a bit more Jace this time around, so I like that. I do think Cat was good. It was just a few lines that just kind of stood out as poor to me. I think most of it has to do with the dialogue, though, so that's the thing they really have to work on. Just don't be that heavy-handed with it. You know, things here and there, like the camera shot, the young Hutch thing that I still can't kind of buy. That one scene with the flashback, they're betting oh for the thousand in as far as flashbacks are concerned. Both the two flashbacks we've had so far, they've both been pretty terrible, so they need to work on that. But hey, full props to Matthew, full props to Emerald and Alberto and Alan, who are fantastic and without whom this show would be utter crap, but they actually managed to make it pretty interesting. I laughed a lot in this episode, and I liked the little details that made it feel a bit more like Shadowhunters and not just so much like an ABC Family show random, So I like that. Thought it was a good episode. I still want to see more progress because, yeah, you can see where the failures are. I think it's pretty clear for most people and where the weak points are, and they have to work on that. It's only been 2 episodes, so I can't be too harsh on it right now, but they do have to show some kind of improvement eventually. Otherwise, it's just going to start, chafing away. So, I guess we'll see where it goes, this whole vampire thing with Simon now. It was a much better cliffhanger than we had last time with the Twilight scene at the end of the last episode. That was terrible. This one was much better, even with the weird disappearing trick they tried to pull off. I like this episode, and I just... Simon and Izzy, man, they make my life. Okay, that I need to see them interact like forever and ever, and I really hope that they give them tons of scenes because they had the best scenes of the episode by far, and really they're kind of the heart of the show for me, both of them. So yeah, it was pretty much my thoughts on episode 2 Shadowhunters. As usual, remember to visit our website at thegeekypub.com if you guys want to see more reviews for TV shows, books, movies, even games. We have a ton of stuff in there, so be sure to visit and check it out. And if you guys want to be notified as soon as possible when we upload a new review, then you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel because that's where our reviews go up first. Even before they hit the website, they're up on YouTube, so that's the fastest way to be notified whenever we upload something new. And that's it from me, and I will see you guys in my next review. Bye.